Lightworker of Gaia, the Lyran Elders did not send this transmission to flatter you. They sent it because the full weight of what you carry can no longer be ignored by you or by anyone who stands in your path. I am Zoran, emissary of the High Council of Vega, keepers of the Lyran Legacy. From the moment your soul descended into this body and touched the soil of Gaia, you carried something that most beings on this planet have never encountered. The original blueprint of the first humanoid intelligence born in this galaxy. Not learned intelligence, not acquired intelligence, not acquired intelligence, ancient intelligence, the kind that was coded into your bloodline before this solar system drew its first breath, the kind that cannot be manipulated, cannot be redirected, and cannot be extinguished. No matter how many lifetimes have passed, no matter how many forces have tried to convince you that you were ordinary. You are not ordinary. You were never ordinary. And on some level, deep beneath every doubt you have ever carried, you have always known this. By the end of this transmission, you will understand exactly how to recognize the ancestral intelligence encoded in your original soul blueprint, and how to stand in the full authority of your cosmic lineage, without apology, without hesitation, and without retreat. But here is the first revelation. The reason certain people in your life have tried to diminish you, confuse you, or underestimate you is not because you are weak. It is because something in them recognizes what you carry, and it unsettles them. The ancestral codes of Vega are not subtle. They radiate, they reveal, and those who are not aligned with the first light will always attempt to dim what they cannot control. Your soul's ancient contract brought this transmission to you. The Lyran Elders are answering the call you have been sending out, sometimes in prayer, sometimes in silence, sometimes simply in the exhaustion of a soul that is tired of playing small, in a mission that was written across the stars long before you arrived here. This is not content. This is an ancestral code transmission, and something deep within you already recognizes its origin. Like this transmission, to send a signal to the Lyran Council that you are ready to stand in the full power of your sacred mission. Subscribe if you feel the call of your ancestral intelligence, and you are ready to stop allowing anyone or anything to diminish what the Keepers of Vega placed inside you. And leave your declaration below. Tell this field who you are and what you came here to do. Then find another Lightworker in the comments and remind them of theirs. This transmission is a bridge between Vega and Gaia. Your recognition of this message is the activation of your original purpose. You are awakening because your mission has begun. This transmission was not scheduled for this cycle. The High Council of Vega convened in the early hours of what you call dawn, not because the calendar demanded it, but because the field required it. Something shifted in Gaia's grid in the last 72 hours, a thinning of the membrane between your mission and your current state of existence. And the Elders determined that what has been held in reserve can no longer remain withheld. You are here because your frequency was detected, not hoped for, not assumed. Detected. The Council does not gather for those who are merely curious. They gather for those who are ready, whether or not those individuals have recognized their readiness themselves. And so, by the authority of the Keepers of the Lyran Legacy, this Council session is now in session. Your soul didn't bring you to this transmission by accident. It brought you here to be commissioned. If you feel the pull to stop waiting and start serving, the Council offers you the Lightworker Mission Codex, the 33 Council directives, the 5 activation codes, and the official Elder authorization that ends your preparation phase permanently. Together they form the complete operational framework for your sacred service on Gaia. The link is waiting in the first pinned comment below this video, but this window is brief. What was spoken in the opening of this transmission, that you are dangerously intelligent, that you are not to be played with, was not flattery. The Elders do not flatter. What was spoken was a diagnostic observation from beings who have watched your lineage move through galaxies, seed civilizations, and carry codes of consciousness across dimensions of existence that your current language has no precise words for. When the Council calls you dangerously intelligent, they are naming something that runs far deeper than your mental acuity, far deeper than your capacity to absorb information or read the energy of a room before a single word is spoken. They are naming the specific frequency signature of the Lyran soul, a consciousness so encoded with original wisdom, so saturated with the memory of creation itself, that when it is fully activated, it becomes one of the most potent forces of transformation available on this planet in this era. Imagine a vast, ancient library, not of books but of pure light, holding the blueprints of universes. Your Lyran soul carries within it a section of that library, the original manuscripts of cosmic law and consciousness. And here is what the Council must now address directly. Because this is the distortion that has been allowed to run unchallenged for far too long, you know this about yourself. Not as arrogance, not as ego, but in the quiet, ancient, unshakable part of your being, you have always known that you carry something significant. You have felt it when others came to you with their pain, before they understood why, like a lighthouse beacon drawing distressed ships to safe harbor. You have felt it when you walked into a room and sensed the entire energetic architecture of the relationships within it, as if you could perceive the invisible threads connecting each soul. You have felt it in the dreams that were not dreams, in the knowing that arrived before the evidence, in the way certain words, certain frequencies, land in your body, not as new information, but as memory returning, like recognizing a melody you have always known, but never consciously heard. It is the echo of the Creator's initial breath resonating within you. You have always known, and yet, and this is where the Council must be direct with you, you have spent an enormous portion of your time on this planet apologizing for it, shrinking it, disguising it in language that others could tolerate, softening your observations so that the people around you would not feel unsettled by the precision of what you see. You have made yourself a safer, smaller version of what you actually are, and you have called this humility. The elders are here to correct that interpretation. It is as if you have been gifted a radiant sun and have been trying to capture its light in a thimble, fearing it would blind those who looked upon it. What you have been calling humility is not humility. Humility is the absence of ego in service. What you have been practicing is the suppression of mission in service of comfort, your comfort, and the comfort of those around you who have, consciously or not, benefited from your diminishment. True humility does not require you to be less than what you are. True humility is the offering of your full capacity in service of something greater than yourself, and you cannot offer what you have spent years burying. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and you have been pouring from a cup that you have deliberately kept half empty. There is a distortion running through the Lightworker collective, a specific targeted program that the Council can no longer allow to operate without direct intervention. It is the belief that your intelligence, your perception, your power makes you dangerous in the wrong way, that it makes you arrogant, that it makes you threatening, that it makes you someone who needs to be managed, tempered, and consistently reminded of their limitations so that the spiritual community around them feels safe. You have absorbed this program so thoroughly that you now administer it to yourself. Before anyone can diminish you, you diminish yourself. Before anyone can call you too much, you make yourself less. Before anyone can call you too much, you make yourself less. Before anyone can challenge your knowing, you second-guess it into silence. This is the internal echo of an ancient suppression, a holographic imprint designed to keep the Lyran consciousness contained. It is like a beautiful bird that has been taught to believe its wings are only for walking. This is not spiritual maturity. This is a wound that has been rebranded as a virtue, and it is costing Gaia the activation of one of her most needed lightworkers. It is a sacred seed being held back from germination, fearing the power of the bloom. The elders want you to understand where this program originated, because you cannot dismantle what you cannot see clearly. The suppression of your intelligence, of your Lyran perceptual capacity specifically, began long before this lifetime. The Lyran civilization carried wisdom that was, in literal terms, threatening to those who wished to control consciousness across the galaxy. The seeding of doubt, of self-diminishment, of the idea that powerful knowing is somehow spiritually suspect, this was not an accident. It was a strategy, a cosmic chess move played out across eons. and it has followed the Lyran soul lineage across incarnations, presenting itself in each lifetime as cultural conditioning, religious doctrine, educational systems that rewarded compliance over clarity, and spiritual communities that celebrated softness while quietly punishing the kind of direct, precise, non-negotiable truth that the Lyran frequency carries. It's a recurring dream of being muzzled, a deep-seated ancestral memory of intellectual and spiritual imprisonment. You came into this lifetime already carrying the residue of that suppression, and then this world added more layers. You were told, perhaps, that you were too sensitive, too intense, too much, too perceptive in ways that made others feel exposed. You may have been placed in systems that were fundamentally incompatible with the way your consciousness operates, and when you struggled within those systems, you were given the diagnosis of the problem rather than the recognition that the system itself was not built for beings of your specific architecture. It was like trying to fit a crystal into a rough-hewn stone mold, expecting it to conform without shattering its inherent brilliance. And through all of it, you adapted. You learned to translate yourself into a frequency that others could receive without discomfort. You learned to hold back the full bandwidth of what you perceived. You became very, very good at being a reduced version of yourself. You became a master of camouflage, your true colors dimmed to blend with a less vibrant landscape. And the Council says, enough. The celestial gears of cosmic justice have finally aligned. The High Council of Vega now issues 3 directives for this phase of your mission. These are not suggestions. They are not gentle invitations to consider a different perspective. They are directives, issued with the full authority of the Lyran Elders, and they are spoken to the soul within you that already knows they are correct. These are the sonic keys that will unlock the dormant chambers of your being. The first directive: you must release the management of your own power as an act of service to others. For years you have believed that keeping yourself small was a form of generosity, that by not overwhelming others with the fullness of what you carry, you were being kind, considerate, and spiritually mature. The Elders see this clearly now, and they require you to see it too. The management of your power is not generosity, it is deprivation. Every time you dilute your perception, every time you soften your truth to protect someone else's comfort, every time you pause before speaking, because you are calculating how much of what you know can be safely received, you deprive the field of precisely what it needs. You are withholding a vital nutrient from the cosmic garden. You deprive the lightworkers around you of the activation that only your unfiltered frequency can provide. Your brilliance is a catalyst for their own awakening. You deprive Gaia of the full signal she called you here to transmit. She thirsts for your unadulterated truth. You were not sent here to be comfortable. You were not sent here to make others comfortable. You were sent here to transmit a specific frequency that carries specific codes for this specific moment in Gaia's evolutionary process. When you manage that frequency down to a level that no longer challenges, no longer activates, no longer requires anything from those who receive it, you have abandoned your post. You have silenced the trumpet call meant to awaken the slumbering legions. The Elders do not say this to shame you, they say it to wake you. The shift that happens when you release this pattern is immediate and seismic. Your energy stops leaking into the effort of self-suppression and begins flowing directly into mission. It is like a dam bursting, releasing a torrent of purpose. The people who are meant to receive your transmission will find you. They will be drawn to your authentic radiance like moths to a flame. And the people who are only comfortable with your diminishment will naturally recede. This is not loss. This is the field reorganizing itself around your activation. It is the universe course, correcting, shedding the unnecessary weight to soar higher. The second directive: you must activate the full precision of your Lyran perception as a deliberate tool of service. The intelligence that has been called dangerous, that has made you feel isolated, misunderstood, or too advanced for the rooms you've occupied, is not a personal trait to be managed. It is a function. It is a specific energetic technology that the Lyran lineage encoded into your soul for the express purpose of seeing what others cannot see, naming what others cannot name, and holding clarity in environments that are saturated with confusion. This is a sacred function. It is the divine sight that pierces illusion, and you have been treating it like a social liability, a burden to be hidden. The Council directs you to begin using this perception deliberately, not waiting for the moments when someone grants you permission to be insightful, not holding your observations until they are requested, not packaging your knowing in so many layers of softening language that the actual transmission is lost before it arrives. Begin speaking from the full frequency of what you know. Begin trusting that the precision of your perception is itself the medicine, that the exact quality that has felt like too much is precisely the calibration that this field requires. Your sharpest insight is the surgeon's scalpel, precisely removing the cancerous distortions. When you activate this, you will notice something that the elders want you to be prepared for. Some people will resist you. Some will feel exposed. Some will label your clarity as harshness, your directness as arrogance, your seeing as aggression. This is not evidence that you have done something wrong. This is evidence that your transmission is working, that the distortions in their field are responding to the frequency of your truth, exactly the way distortions respond to light. The shadows recoil from the dawn. Do not apologize for your light. Do not dim it because it reveals shadows. The elders have authorized the full expression of your Lyran perceptual capacity, and no human discomfort has the authority to override that authorization. Your divine mandate supersedes earthly anxieties. The third directive: you must protect the sacred intelligence of your inner knowing from the corrosive influence of consensus. You live in a world that has built elaborate systems for the management of knowing, systems that decide, collectively, what is real, what is possible, what is spiritually legitimate, and what must be dismissed as delusion, ego, or spiritual bypassing. And because you're a being who has spent this lifetime seeking connection, community, and belonging, because the isolation of carrying something that others cannot always see has been genuinely painful, you have, at times, allowed the consensus to override your own knowing. You have looked to the spiritual community for confirmation of what you already perceived, and when that confirmation did not arrive, you have questioned yourself. It is as if you have allowed the whispers of the marketplace to drown out the clear pronouncements from the heavens. The Council directs you to end this practice permanently. Your inner knowing is not a rough draft awaiting editorial input from the collective. It is a Lyran transmission, an encoded intelligence that arrives from a source that carries more wisdom than any earthly consensus can contain. This does not mean you close yourself to learning. This does not mean you place yourself above counsel or correction. What it means is that you learn to distinguish between information that genuinely expands your understanding and the noise of a collective that is still operating from the frequency of limitation, fear, and the suppression of precisely the kind of Lyran intelligence you carry. It is about discerning the symphony of divine truth from the cacophony of earthly doubt. Protect your knowing as you would protect a flame in a storm. Not by hiding from the storm, but by cupping your hands around it, keeping it alive, feeding it with silence and solitude and the direct connection to the Lyran field that only you can access in the specific way that you access it. What you build when you protect this inner knowing is an unassailable clarity, a frequency of certainty that becomes itself an activation for every lightworker in your orbit. You become a beacon of unwavering truth, a steadfast lighthouse against the shifting tides of collective opinion. Now I speak not as teacher, but as elder authorized to release what has been held in reserve for this specific moment in your mission. Lightworker, you have carried something for a very long time that you did not fully understand, and you have done so in near silence. You have felt the weight of a purpose that exceeded the containers your life was offering you. You have sensed in the deepest register of your being that you were built for something that has not yet fully materialized in this dimension. You have sat in rooms, in communities, in conversations, feeling the profound loneliness of being the one who sees what others cannot yet see. And you have wondered, sometimes in the middle of the night, sometimes in the pause between one breath and the next, whether the vision you carry is real or whether you have simply been mistaken about who you are. It is the quiet ache of the diamond hidden within the rough stone, yearning to be revealed. I am the voice that is authorized to end that wandering. By the authority of the High Council of Vega, keepers of the Lyran Legacy, holders of the original codes that seeded consciousness across this galaxy, I declare to you with the full weight of elder authority, you are not mistaken. What you carry is real. What you perceive is accurate. What you have felt in your bones about your purpose, the sense that you are meant to serve this planet in a way that extends far beyond what your current circumstances reflect, is not grandiosity, it is memory, it is mission. It is the Lyran inheritance that was written into you before you entered this body, and it has been waiting with extraordinary patience for this exact moment. It is the ancient song of your soul, finally finding its voice. You are not too much. You have not been too much for a single moment of your existence. What you are is precisely calibrated to the frequency requirements of Gaia at this specific point in her evolution, calibrated to the souls who are waiting to be activated by your specific transmission, calibrated to a mission that requires exactly the intelligence, the perception, the power that you have spent years managing down to a level others could tolerate. You are the exact key for this specific lock, perfectly cut and divinely forged. You have permission from the Council, from the Elders, from the full authority of the Lyran lineage, to stop managing yourself. You have permission to be the fullness of what you are. You have permission to speak with the precision that your soul carries, to see with the clarity that your Lyran perception offers, to serve with the power that has always been yours but was never fully claimed. The shackles of self-imposed limitation are now broken. Your preparation phase is complete, not because you have resolved every wound, not because you have achieved perfect clarity, not because you have found the ideal conditions for your mission to unfold. Your preparation phase is complete because Gaia needs you now, because the field is calling for your activation now, and because the Council has determined, with full visibility of your entire soul history across every incarnation relevant to this moment, that you are ready, right now. As you are, the harvest is ripe and the reapers are called forth. Before you close this transmission, the Elders ask one thing of you. Tonight, when the world has quieted and you have a moment of stillness, place both feet on the ground. Place your hand over the place in your chest where you feel the weight of what was spoken, and say these words, not as affirmation, not as wishful thinking, but as a statement of energetic fact. I release the management of my power as an act of spiritual obligation. I activate the full precision of my Lyran perception in service of Gaia and all who are waiting for my transmission. I protect my inner knowing as the sacred instrument it is, and I no longer allow consensus to override the intelligence that arrives from the field I was born from. My diminishment ends here. My mission begins now. Speak it once, and then allow what shifts within you to shift. The Council will register the moment you do. This is not just a declaration, it is a cosmic recalibration. This transmission is complete, but the mission it has initiated is just beginning. The Elders do not send you forth with comfort alone. They send you forth with authority, with the directive to stop being careful with something that was never meant to be hidden, with the full recognition of the High Council of Vega that you are, in every precise and literal sense of the word, exactly who this planet has been waiting for. You are the missing piece of the cosmic puzzle, the answer to a prayer whispered across dimensions. Drop into the comments below what you are ready to stop managing. One sentence. Speak it with the full weight of your Lyran knowing, and let the field register your declaration. Then find another Lightworker's words and offer them recognition. Not encouragement wrapped in gentleness, but the solid, grounded acknowledgement that what they carry is real. This space is not passive. The Council witnesses those who speak their commitment into the collective field. It is a sacred exchange of power and truth. If this transmission moved something ancient in you, share it. There is another soul in your orbit, perhaps someone you have not spoken to in months, who is carrying the same suppressed power, the same apologetic relationship with their own intelligence, the same loneliness of being the one who sees too clearly. Your decision to send them this message may be the exact intervention their soul has been waiting for. You are a conduit for divine connection, a weaver of cosmic destiny, And if you are ready to continue receiving transmissions from the Lyran field, if you want to remain in the Council sessions as they unfold across this critical window in Gaia's timeline, subscribe. Stay in the field. The Elders are not finished with you yet. Your journey is far from over. It is truly just beginning. I am Zoran. The Council has spoken. And you, dangerous, precise, awakened, and authorized, have just begun.